Hey guys, so this is lesson 9, and we're going to be talking about equivalent expressions practice. Some helpful reminders when simplifying expressions and equations. You want to make sure that you're using PEMDAS. And again, PEMDAS is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division can flip-flop depending on which one comes first, as well as addition and subtraction. You can only add and subtract things that are the same variables, which are letters, and exponents. So it has to have the same letter and it has to have the same exponents to be able to add and subtract them together. So for an example, I can do, it's kind of similar to the one on number 1. So we'll do 3 times x plus 2x minus 6. All right, so the first thing that we want to make sure we do is we want to make sure that we add what goes on inside here. So PEMDAS, right? So parentheses, we have x plus 2x. I can do that because this has an x and this has an x. So if I have one x and I have two x's, altogether I'll have 3 x's. And then I want to make sure that I'm bringing down that 3 and that minus 6. And then from here, I want to make sure I'm doing multiplication before I do subtraction. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 3x, which will give me 9x, and then that minus 6. This right here is simplified. You cannot simplify 6. You can't take 6 and minus it from 9x because they do not have the same like terms. And then, let me see, let's erase. And then let's do an example like number 2, where we have x to the third times 4x minus 7x. So it's not number 2 on the paper, but it's something similar to number 2. So x to the third times 4x minus 7x. So I'm noticing that I have multiplication going on and I have subtraction. And according to PEMDAS, I want to make sure I do that multiplication first. So when I multiply x to the third times 4x, I'm going to take the bases, and this is a base, so 1 times 4, I'm going to multiply that, which will give me 4. And then I'm going to multiply the x's. And there's only one x here, so when we multiply x's together, all we're really doing is we're taking the exponents and we're adding them together. So I still have my x, and then it just becomes to the 4th power now, and then minus 7x. I cannot simplify these because, well, this is simplified. I cannot subtract 7x from 4x to the 4th because this is an exponent of 1. And going back to our rules, we cannot add and subtract things that have different exponents. When I'm making equivalent expressions, I want to remember that if this is something I want to make equivalent, I have to do things that will get me this answer. So 12x divided by 2 will get me that 6x, as well as 12x minus 6x will get me 6x. Notice when you're multiplying and dividing things to make equivalent expressions, only one of these has to have one x. If you have both x's, then this won't have an x. And then when you're adding and subtraction, you have to remember that both of these need to have the same variable. They need to have an x to make this 6x.